Welcome to Aggie Horticulture. I'm Fran Pontasch with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. Today I'll talk briefly, very briefly, about our classic Christmas plants. We have the Poinsettia, Christmas Cactus, and then the Norfolk Island Pine. So we're going to start with the Poinsettia. It's Euphorbia ulcerima. It's a woody succulent, and it has it has this latex. You can see that it exudes this white latex, which is rumored to be poisonous, but it's really not. It might irritate your skin, but you'd have to drink a lot before you got sick to your stomach, and there's no record of anyone ever dying. So the poinsettia is from central Mexico and Central America. It's grown as a shrub there at higher elevations. So that should give you a little semi-arid conditions, an indication of how to water it. So it kind of likes to dry out a bit before it's watered, and not watered heavily. When you get these from the store, typically they're in these plastic wraps, foil wraps, and so it's best to take them out and just put them on a plate or a saucer of some kind so that they can drain. They really need to drain. The quickest way to kill a poinsettia is to overwater it and keep it in the shade. They do like bright light in order to keep alive. This one, I'm going to show you real quick, has great roots. That would be, for me, this is a contender for moving into my yard. I like those roots and I want them to be healthy, so it won't be overwatered. Let's look a little bit at these leaves. Poinsettias, or all euphorbs, are actually, the flowers are these reproductive structures. Those are the flowers in the center, and these are showy bracts, these pretty colors. So they're very light sensitive. In fact, they need dark. So around the vernal equinox in September, late September, as the days grow shorter and the nights grow longer, the chlorophyll begins to drop out, and as it does, it allows the other pigments to become more dominant. So they actually need about 16 hours of uninterrupted night in order to be showy like this, to have the bright green color. I kind of suspect that this one maybe was cut short, or maybe in its wrapper a little too long. You see it's a little bit faded while this is more vibrant. So I've grown these poinsettias for years, and I did have one in my yard in Kingwood, which is in zone 8, for about 3 years. It grew to about 4 feet tall, and then froze. So they don't survive the winter very well. They will freeze back. But if you do have it outside, you have to make sure that it's uninterrupted dark, or else they'll all be more mottled than bright red. What I did to put it in the yard was I took it and snipped off all the bracts, all the stems with the bracts, and planted it, kind of ignored it for the rest of the winter until spring, and then planted it, watered it really well, and it did quite well until it froze. So it was in a nice northern part exposure of the house where I knew it wouldn't be exposed to any flashing lights. It did get I think the maximum nighttime temperature was maybe 13 hours, so didn't quite get as vivid as these poinsettias. And as you know, they're in creamy, beautiful, elegant, creamy white and pink and variegated and all sorts of variations of poinsettia. Well, let's move on to the Christmas cactus. This is a Schlumbergera, named after Frederick Schlumberger, a botanist in the 1800s. And it is not a cactus, it is a succulent, and also needs nighttime darkness, extended hours of nighttime in order to to bloom. So also around the vernal equinox, when the days start growing shorter and the nights longer, that's when you begin to lengthen the nighttime and prepare it for bloom. I suspect this one is actually a Thanksgiving cactus, not a Christmas cactus, but I'm calling it a Christmas cactus anyway, because this species has these points. Christmas cactus don't have those points. So this is very likely a Thanksgiving cactus, which blooms near Thanksgiving on into our Christmas season. Whereas a Christmas cactus might bloom in December and last through January. These are actually more common, come in all sorts of colors. They like to be root bound. They're epiphytic, and from Brazil. Epiphytic means they grow very, very small root systems, and like a bromeliad. They are found in Brazil in the crook of trees. Let me show you what not to do. So this is a Christmas cactus that was just beautiful this summer. Christmas cactus like the weather like we do. Very mild and sunny and pretty, little bit of humidity so it's not too harsh. But once the sun comes out and it gets really hot and droughty, they're not so happy. So this Christmas cactus experienced heat stress in late August, early September, and that was mistaken for drought, and it was overwatered. And you see these droopy stems? Those are actually from overwatering, and eventually they come out, and they usually do not revive once they've gotten that far. This was also potted up, which it probably shouldn't have. It's better to be just slightly root bound. This also was placed in a window in early October. You'll see that this side is near the window where there's no outside light. However, this side was facing this person's dining room, where they turned on the lights here and there, and you can see there's a little tiny bud, but they do need uninterrupted light for about 16 hours a day in order to bloom anywhere near this. That's pretty excessive. That's a lot of blooms. This is from the nursery. Okay, so now we'll move on to the Norfolk Island Pine. This pine, they usually come with multiple trunks just to make them look bushier. This is our living Christmas tree, about 4 feet tall, and they're not actually a pine, but they're classified as a tropical conifer. This is from Norfolk Island, which is east of Australia. It was discovered by Captain Cook in the 1500s, and that's on Norfolk. He named it Norfolk Island, and hence the name Norfolk Island Pine. He built a settlement there, thinking that he could use these tall trees. They can grow to 150 feet tall. They're really quite big in our forest down there on Norfolk Island. But he thought he could build his masts for a ship and have a shipbuilding plant on Norfolk Island, but the wood is not structurally sound. It grows very rapidly, and typically wood that grows rapidly is not that strong. For structural soundness, you need a slow growing wood. So this grows in segments of 5 leaves. Let's see. You see this growth point. Once it begins to leaf out, it'll grow all 5 leaves at one time. Kind of makes a little star, if you can see that. And a typical Norfolk Island pine might grow two sets of whorled leaves. I actually have one I bought as a living tree about 4 years ago, this size, and it's now 7 feet tall and growing slowly, and that's because this tip broke off. If you break off the tip, it won't make the 5 whorls. Mine grows 7. And it might do 1 whorl per year, maybe. So this one also since it's indigenous to Norfolk Island near Australia, it's subject to lots of wind and salt. So this is a coastal plant. It should be exposed to lots of humidity and can withstand wind and salt very well. If you're in the drier counties of Texas or drier areas of the U.S., Norfolk Island Pine would probably need to be grown inside and away from any heating and air conditioning. The leaves will, instead of this bright green leaf, the leaves will sort of wilt and fold in. And once they do that, they never quite become upright again. So they do wilt and, not wilt, but they just kind of look sad if they've been too dry or inside for too long. Once you bring them outside, the new growth will recover, but not the old growth. But this will last forever. They'll outgrow your house and your spot. So all of these can become permanent plants of your collection. And I wish you a Merry Christmas, and I hope your Thanksgiving was fantastic. Thank you.